Welcome to the introduction of the automated virtual network deployment. This is a component of a CI/CD pipeline that can be used for unit tests. For example, testing new configurations for a change, new software releases, and so on. First, let's take a look at the topology, which is really simple. We have the GNS3 server. This is responsible for running the virtual network devices using KVM, as well as connecting those devices together using a tool called ubridge. The GNS3 server is controlled by a Python script running on a CI tool, which can be Jenkins, GitLab, or any other software. We also have a client, but this is optional. It's only used to show what's happening in the background. It's not needed for the build environment, although it can also be used to create custom topologies for one-time tests. The actual build process is not that complicated. The Python script on the CI tool uses REST API calls to the GNS3 server. First, it creates a new project. The project is basically a topology. This is where we put our virtual network nodes. Then gets a list of the available appliances, adds those appliances like a switch, a router, a server, connect them together based on the configuration we create, start those nodes, and once the node started, it deploys a day zero configuration. The day zero configuration is configured by using expect scripts. The reason for this is the only way we can create configurations for multiple vendors. And since those configurations are not complicated, we don't need to create very complex scripts. Let's take a look at the input configuration. It has four sections. One is about the GNS3 server. This is basically just the IP address and the port where it can reach the GNS3 server. We have a project name. This can be the name of the test case we're running. For now, it's NXOS Management Network because, as we'll see later, I'm just connecting two NXOSV nodes to a switch using their management ports. Next section is the nodes. We have three nodes. One is a dumb Ethernet switch. It does nothing, just connects the other devices together. And we have the mentioned NXOSV 9K devices with their IP address and gateway set. As I mentioned previously, the configuration is really simple. We don't set anything but the admin user's password, an IP address, and the gateway. The last section is the links. This describes what device will be connected to which other device on what ports. This shows the management port of the first NXOS is connected to the second port of the switch, and the management port of the other NXOS connected to the third port of that switch. Let's move on to our GNS3 client. Just to show there's nothing here. This is the window where all the projects would be listed if we had any. This is running on idle and it has nothing configured. Let's start the deployment. We go to the CLI of the CI tool and start the Python script. As you can see, there are no CLI parameters need to be passed or required variables are stored in the config YAML file. When we start the script, the first steps are really fast. It creates the project, basically does the sequence I mentioned earlier, adds those nodes, connect them together, start them. Now the NXOSVs are booting up. If we switch to our GNS3 client, we will see the project is already there. If we open it, you can see the nodes as well. And let's open their terminal to see what's happening in the background. I will skip part of the booting cycle because NXOSVs boot for 8 to 10 minutes. It takes a lot of time, and during that time, we're doing basically nothing. We'll see the day zero configuration being applied once they're booted. Okay, the switches are in their final phase of their booting sequence. That's when the day zero configuration will kick in very soon. It started on the first switch. First it disabled the POAP process, now sets the admin password, logs in, and then sets the host name and goes to the management zero interface and sets the IP address there. Okay, it's done on the first switch. Moving on to the second one. The same process will be followed, except a different IP address will be set. So now if we start a ping from one switch to the other, we will see that we can get traffic through and the devices are up. And at this point, our devices are ready to be imported into the inventory of any automation framework, Ansible, SaltStack, Cisco NSO, and many others.